I'm Priscilla Lombardi for It's Relevant News, and welcome to Candidate Profiles. I would like to thank Mr. Fred Wilms for joining me today for a conversation. Thank you, Fred.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Definitely. Now, my first question for you is, what are your top 3 legislative priorities that would benefit the 142nd District?
My top priority, the reason why I'm running, is because Connecticut, we've just gotten off track. Our economy is stagnating. We're not creating new jobs like the rest of the country is. Our fiscal house is a mess. Taxes have been raised and they're very high, and yet we still are going to have a $2 billion budget deficit next year. The state has over $70 billion of liabilities that we have to, as taxpayers, have to deal with in the future. So I have a very strong finance background. I'm a senior vice president at Webster Bank. I work with small businesses here in Norwalk and in lower Fairfield County. And I also chaired the Board of Estimate Taxation for the city of Norwalk for the last 8 years. And we maintained our city's AAA bond rating. So with that kind of strong finance background, I'm finding that people see that I bring actually a new perspective to the state legislature. And so that's what I'm looking to do.
Now, in terms of transportation, what would you like to do to fix the problems regarding transportation infrastructure on Metro North's New Haven line and on I-95?
You know, I served for 3 years on the Connecticut State Transportation Strategy Board. So we dealt with a lot of those issues. And when I was on there, I supported the widening of I-95, you know, what we're seeing right now off of exit 14. I think those are good moves that'll help reduce the traffic congestion in those particular nubs. I'm also a big supporter of using our ports. Right now, the problem we face is that we don't have commercial rail here. And so when goods come to our region, if they come via ship, they have to unload at New York City, Port Elizabeth, and then they get put on trucks, and then they come here. And then the railhead is in New Jersey, so commercial rail stops there. Then it gets put on trucks. So I got a lot of trucks coming here on I-95. I-95 is the only route they can come in this part. So that's the problem that we have, is this disproportionate amount of tractor-trailer trucks relative to the rest of the country. One solution is to use our ports. We're here on Long Island Sound. We have this beautiful water right here, and I'd like to resurrect the proposal to have feeder barges bring goods up to New Haven, New London, and Bridgeport. That way it bypasses our part of I-95 and reduces the amount of truck traffic. I'm also a big supporter of Metro North commuting. I commuted for 15 years into New York City. And so I'd like to see the Danbury line electrified so that it's one line, as opposed to now where you take the train to South Norwalk, then you got to get off, then you got to get on another train, and it's a pain. The Canaan Spur line is one line, and so we would promote more north-south commuter traffic. And then finally, the walk bridge, the railroad bridge that's over the Norwalk River, that hasn't been closing properly the last 2 or 3 times. And we really need to make sure that bridge is operational and fixed, because if that shuts down, it shuts down all of Metro North and Amtrak. So those are my top transportation priorities.
Now, in terms of bullying, October is National Bullying Prevention Month. So is there a role for the state legislator to play in reducing bullying among our young people, especially in our schools?
Well, bullying's it can be a really serious problem. I've known some friends of mine. I have a son and daughter, and my son right now is at Norwalk High School, and my daughter, they both went to the Norwalk school systems. And so, you know, I heard through them there were some cases where there was bullying, and it's just horrible, you know, to have kids to be picked on like that. And I think it can really produce some emotional scarring that they carry with them later on in life. So as a legislator, I know one of the things we can do is really promote the issue. I know the Norwalk City Council just passed a resolution on bullying, and certainly I think from the state we can take a role there as well.
We know that closing the achievement gap is a top priority for many schools in the state. What elements would the state need to have to be successful in closing the achievement gap?
That's a major frustration we face here in Norwalk. Unfortunately, when the test scores are analyzed, white kids and Asian kids score a lot better than African American or Hispanic children. And you know, every child deserves an opportunity to go to a successful school. and to get a quality education. I really believe that just because you're born in Bridgeport versus being born in Greenwich, I think both children deserve to have the same opportunities in life. I'm a big supporter of charter schools, of school choice. You know, if children are going to a failed school, it's really unfair and almost immoral to require them to stay there. It's like keeping them in jail. And just there was a movie, you know, Waiting for Superman. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but it's a very powerful indictment of failing schools. And so I really believe that children who are trapped in those schools really deserve the opportunity to get out and go to a school that can promote their success and future opportunities.
What excites you most about representing the 142nd District?
I've now visited over 3,000 people. I've gone door to door, and I've walked the entire district. Actually, I've walked the entire district once, and then I'm just about ready to walk it a second time. You know, once for the Republican primary, now for the general election. And, you know, I've just really enjoyed getting out and meeting the people that I'll be representing. You know, to see their homes, to meet their families, to hear their concerns, you know, what's on their mind. And a lot of people have been telling me that they're really worried about the economy, they're really about jobs, they're really worried about the state's fiscal situation. I mean, on a side note, there's just some interesting stories. One was I was calling out a couple nights ago near Fox Run School, and there's a man there who has a custom-made Audi 4000, which he let me test drive. So that was pretty cool. You know, I don't get to do that. I wouldn't get to do that if I wasn't walking the neighborhood. But I really enjoy representing people and serving them, and I really look forward to doing that more in the future.